بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Firstly, Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward everybody for coming out today, and ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to make this a sitting of benefit and knowledge, and that we leave here better than we came. Ameen. And today we're going to discuss an issue that all of us, the men, the women, the brothers, the sisters, the youth, those who are older, the elders, that we're in need of, and that Islam didn't leave us without discussing this issue. And it is al-akhlaq al-fadila, having good adab, having good manners. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam said in the hadith, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ أو صالح الْأَخْلَاقِ. That he said, I've been sent to perfect the noble character, or the righteous character, that we already have an example in the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. And a lot of these are hadith we already know. But it's a difference between knowing the text, knowing the nas, and implementing it. So hopefully we want to try to bring to light some live situations that we go through, realistic situations that we go through, and how we handle them, and how the revelation, the Quran and the Sunnah, has instructed us to handle them. How we usually handle them, what we used to doing, what the norm is, opposed to, and see how we match up against what Allah said, what His Messenger said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said in another hadith, alayhi salatu wasalam, إِنَّ مِنْ أَحَبِّكُمْ إِلَيَّ وَأَقْرَبِكُمْ مِنِّي مجلسا يوم القيامة أحاسنكم أخلاقا. He said, the one most beloved to me, meaning to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one I love the most, and the one that will be closest to me يوم القيامة, the one that will be closest to the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam يوم القيامة. He said, أحاسنكم أخلاقا. Those of you who have the best adab, those of you who have the best adab, behavior, character, morals. طيب. وجاء عنه عليه الصلاة والسلام أحاديث عديدة الحث على الأخلاق الفاضلة والآداب الكاملة. And there's many ahadith that come that show where the Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام, he encouraged us to have good adab. To have good adab. Right? And this is not something, having good adab, good behavior, brothers and sisters. It is not something that is specific to people who are learned. Meaning only the imam has to have good adab. Only the sheikh has to have good adab. Only the student, the tulab al-ilm, they're the only ones that have to behave, talk like Muslims, they have to talk like Muslims, they have to speak like Muslims, they have to dress like Muslims, they have to respond like Muslims when some hardship comes. But if you're not a student, you're not an imam, you don't have to follow those rules. This is a mistake. This is for the Muslims. This nasiha from the Messenger, these commands are for the Muslims in general, not for a specific group. Not only if you attach yourself to this place that you got to act like this, the Muslim. He said, the closest of you are those who have the best character. طيب. And there are many ahadith that discuss ما يترتب على الخلق من الثواب العظيم. There are many ahadith that discuss the reward for having good adab. Adab, or as people say, adab, having good behavior, good character. There are many ahadith that discuss the reward for that. بل سئل عليه الصلاة والسلام عن أعظم ما يكون به دخول الجنة. The Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام, somebody asked him, what is the thing that will enter most people into paradise? What will enter most people into paradise? Anybody know what he said? The answer? Huh? What's the most important thing in Islam? Salat?
Taqwa, husnul khuluq.
There you are. Taqwa. Tawheed, taqwa. He said, number one, he answered, taqwa Allah. What is the thing that most people, how will most people get into paradise? He said, one, taqwa Allah. A taqwa, to have the fear of Allah, which is fi'l al-ta'at wa tark al-ma'siyah, which is obeying Allah. A taqwa, fearing Allah, is to obey Allah and to stay away from disobedience. Tell you, what's the highest form of obedience to Allah?
La ilaha illallah.
Tawheed. Fear Allah and to stay away from disobedience. The highest form of disobedience? A shirk. Awwalan, number one. Most people will get into paradise, he said, taqwa Allah, number one, which includes a tawheed and staying away from shirk. And number two, he says, wa husnul khuluq, and good adab. Good adab. This is not me making these are narrations from the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because people want to come and say, why are you talking about adab? As if the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as if Allah Jalla wa Ala, number one, and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't teach us as Muslims that we're supposed to be the people with the best character. We're supposed to be the best. But you're going to find people who belittle it and act like adab is not a big deal. As long as you believe and you say you're on the Sunnah, that adab is that's second. Whatever. The haqq is the haqq. As if adab doesn't have a major role in Islam. Tayyib. So he said, most people, when he was asked, what is the greatest thing that will enter most people into paradise? He said, taqwa Allah wa husnul khuluq. Having fear of Allah and having good adab. And this is why the Muslim has to be a person who is concerned about their character, concerned about how they treat people, concerned about how they respond. What do people think of them? Why? We represent Islam, period. So a person who's not a Muslim, doesn't know anything, a Muslim represents Islam. You don't represent wherever you pray at every day, you represent Islam, period. They don't know you only pray here or this, the distinguished, they believe this, they don't know all of that. Right? So you represent Islam. So the Muslim should always be conscious and giving importance to adab. And it's a wide topic. It's books and books written on adab. It's books, volumes of books written on adab. Volumes of books, volumes and volumes written on adab. And of course we don't have time to do all that, so we're going to summarize it based on some statements of the ulama of the past. They said, al-akhlaq al-islamiyya taqumu ala arba arkan. من اعتنى بها كان بإذن الله تبارك وتعالى من أهل الأخلاق. That the ulama have said that adab is based on 4 pillars, has 4 pillars. Just like Islam has 5 pillars, right? Adab, good behavior, good adab, good character has 4 pillars. Whoever sticks to these and upholds these pillars, then they will be from the people of akhlaq. They are from the people who have good adab. Adab, however you want to say it. Should be adab. Adab is the gem, is the plural. And whoever doesn't abide by the teachings in the Quran and the Sunnah that we've been taught regarding adab, then those people have wasted themselves in that specific thing. Then they're not, because they're deficient. They're deficient in that area that they haven't implemented. Tayyib. Abi Zayd al-Qayrawani. He said, Al-Imam al-Ma'ruf al-Mashhur, he has a nickname, Al-Qayrawani. He has a nickname, they call him Malik al-Saghir, rahimahullah. Malik al-Saghir. We know Imam Malik? We know Imam Malik? Everybody know him. Who doesn't know Imam Malik? Don't be shy, brothers. Don't be shy if you don't know who Imam Malik is. Imam Malik, rahimahullah. Imam Malik, one of the 4 imams of, famous for what? Fiqh and hadith. And before fiqh and hadith. Famous story of Imam Malik. Aqidah. Famous story of Imam Malik. This is not Imam Malik's statement. This is who they call Little Malik. They call him Little Malik. Malik al-Saghir. He said, Abi Zayd, he said, Hadith al-Akhlaq tajtama' fi 4 ahadith. These are hadith, he said, the hadith regarding, the narrations regarding good adab are summarized into 4 narrations, 4 hadith, that everyone should memorize. The men, the women, the older, the elders, the younger brothers, the kids, every person should try to memorize these 4 hadith. And they're short, and they can all be found in the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah. Imam al-Nawawi's 40 hadith. He said that all adab is contained and concise in the 4 hadith. The statement of the Messenger, alayhi salatu wasalam, من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقول خيرا أو ليصمت. The first one, whoever believes in Allah on the last day, then he should what? Speak good or remain silent. We all know the hadith. G. وقول النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام من حسن إسلام مرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. From perfection of a person's Islam is that they do what? Leave alone things that don't concern you. Right? Thirdly, the 3rd hadith, قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لمن طلب منه الوصية, the person who asked him for advice, أوصني قال لا تغضب. Don't get angry. When the man came and asked him for advice, he said, advise me, O Messenger of Allah. He told him, لا تغضب, don't get angry. And then he said it how many times? Again, miraran. He said it 3 times to the man. The 4th hadith, قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That none of you truly believes until he wants for his brother what he wants for himself. He said these 4 hadith included are the pillars of good adab. Tayyib. And all of these hadith can be found in the collection of Imam al-Nawawi's 40 hadith. Jama'at al-Akhlaq wal-Adab. So all of the hadith go back to these regarding adab, the behavior, how should we carry ourselves in public with our wives, wives with the husbands, children with parents, parents with children, at work, with our non-Muslim families, with neighbors that are not Muslim, with neighbors that are Muslims. All adab goes back to these 4 hadith. Tayyib. 4 pillars. Tayyib, so the first one. Al-Rukn al-Awwal. It has to do with siyanat al-lisan. A person guarding and protecting their tongue. Guarding and protecting what we say out of our mouths. Tayyib. What's the dalil? What's the dalil that from the pillars of akhlaq is protecting your tongue?
Where it was said that if you could guarantee me these 2 things, you would enter paradise. What's between the 2 cheekbones and what's between the
Mumtaz. We didn't mention that here, but G, from these 4 hadith.
Let he who believes in Allah in the last day say something good or keep silent.
Or be silent. Siyanat al-lisan, protecting the tongue. That hadith, man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir, whoever believes in Allah on the last day, he should do what? Speak something, say something beneficial or be quiet. Right? Say something beneficial or be quiet, and notice that the Prophet ﷺ connected this to a person's belief, person's aqidah. You really believe in the last day? You believe in Allah on the last day? Aqidah, right? You believe in Allah on the last day, and speak good or remain quiet. The first pillar, that a person speaks good and protects their tongue, or they remain silent, and that the هذا الركن الأول. ومن لم يصن لسانه لن يكن من أهل الأخلاق. Whoever doesn't protect their tongue, then they're not considered from the people who have good adab. Good adab is not restricted. It's not restricted, brothers. The fact that your belief in Allah is according to the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The fact that you have aqidah sahiha, your belief in Allah is correct. It doesn't necessitate that you're from ahl al-akhlaq. It doesn't necessitate that we are from the people of good adab, that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us they will be closest to him yawm al-qiyamah. It doesn't necessitate that we're from those people that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he said in the beginning, what? Most people will enter paradise based on the taqwa, the tawheed, staying away from shirk, and good adab, good character. Not just we stay away from shirk with people of tawheed and we just, we do anything else doesn't matter. That's a mistake, and that's a belief, again, of one of the original groups of innovation, the Murji'ah. That's their belief. That's not the belief of Ahl Sunnah. That you can just believe in your heart, and actions don't matter. This is a belief closer to the Murji'ah. Those people who say actions don't affect your iman. This is not the belief of the people of the Sunnah who follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Tayyib. So the first pillar is protecting the tongue. وَمَعْنَ صِيَانَةُ اللِّسَانِ. What does it mean to guard your tongue? ضَبْطُهُ وَحَبْسُهُ مِنَ الْكَلَامِ إِلَّا مَا كَانَ فِيهِ فَائِدًا. To hold back from speaking. Allah forgive us. Allah forgive us. Controlling the tongue and protecting the tongue, to hold back from speaking, إِلَّا مَا كَانَ فِيهِ فَائِدًا. Except when there's a benefit to what you're going to say. We're talking about ourselves. If everybody look at yourself, don't look at nobody else. How many conversations do we entertain that's possibly haram, let alone not appropriate for a Muslim, man or woman, to be talking about? And even if it is not haram, it could be permissible, but is there any benefit in it? Habsu. To habs, to restrict the speech except when there's some benefit. That's why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَلْيَكُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Say something good or just be quiet. It's safer. It says in this statement, say something good or be silent. فيه دعوة للتفكر في الكلام قبل الكلام. He said, what the Prophet ﷺ said, say something beneficial or keep silent. It's a call, and he's teaching us to do what? Think before we speak. To think before we speak. And this is a statement that's used, لأن الكلمة قبل أن تخرج تملكها وإذا خرجت ملكتك. That because a statement that you say, before you say it, you own it. But once you say it, the statement owns you. Once you make a statement, that statement owns you, that we're held responsible for it. It's on us now. You made the statement, now somebody come and challenge you on it. And you don't want them to say nothing. But you made the statement, and now you're held responsible for it. And this is why it's important for a person to think before they speak. All of us. To think before we speak. Look at what we're going to say and think before we speak. Because if a person thinks before they speak, it's going to fall into three categories. Either it's clear يتبين لك أنه خير. Before a person says something, either one is clear that what they're about to say is something good and beneficial. Right? Talking about before you just blast off and start, a person thinks about what they're going to say. Either one, they come to the realization, okay, this is some benefit. This is some benefit. This is something khayr. This is something good I'm about to say. And in that case, should they say it or not? Then they say it. Takallam. There's no problem with it. There's some benefit in it. It's something good, then they say it. Tayyib. Or they come to the realization before they say something and they say, you know what, astaghfirullah, that John. I know I shouldn't be saying that. Right? That's out of pocket. I shouldn't say that. That's out of pocket. Right? Before they say anything, they're thinking and they come to the realization, I shouldn't say that. Right? In that case, it's some evil. It's evil. Right? An example of something evil is what? What's something evil that a person might say out of their mouth? It's not a trick question. Backbiting. Tail carrying. Busting on, yeah. What do they call it? Old heads. Well, slander. Slander. Sound, they call it sounding people. We used to call it busting on people. Or roasting, they say roasting now. Come on, buddy. Go sit down. They call it roasting now. The young bucks call it roasting people. Right? And it's a hadith about that. Saying something about your brother that he wouldn't like you to say. A person comes to the realization, should I say this? No, that's foul. I shouldn't be saying that. In that case, should they say it or should they hold back? Hold back. That's for the person who's thinking before they speak. There's some hudud, they have limits. The Messenger, we know all the hadith, so we use them. Not just have them in the cut when we need them, they're convenient. So I'm going to use them on you now because it's convenient. We use them for ourselves. Firstly, that either you speak good or you be or remain quiet. Tayyib. In this case, a person holds back and they don't say anything. They refrain. This is from good adab. Or the third case, where a person, they're not sure if they should say it, if it's evil or if it's khayr. There might be some good on it, it might not be. Itaraddid, hesitation. They're not really sure. Right? لا تدري هل الكلام الذي تقوله خير أو شر. You don't know if it's good to say it or if it's bad to say it. طيب. It could be good though. It might bring some serious benefit, but it might not. In that case, what should a person do? Say it or leave it all? Leave it all? Some doubt. طيب.
Leave it alone then. Don't say it.
Why?
If you got doubt, you shouldn't say the hadith of the Prophet.
What's the hadith of the Prophet?
That which is between the two is the doubtful matters.
Leave off that which makes you doubtful, that which doesn't make you
That. There's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning, before a person says it, before we put it out there for the world to read, because now we're doing text messages, right? Now we texting. We on Twitter, we on social, whatever social media. Before we put it out there for the world to read, is it benefit in that right there that the world is going to read coming from me? It's coming from me. Now, I'm responsible for what I put out there. I put it out there. Is it beneficial what I'm going to say? If there's some doubt, then we should not do it. If we're sure that it's no benefit, it's no fa'idah, right? Let alone if it's haram. We're not talking about if it's haram, it's haram. The statement itself, is it benefit in the statement or not? If we're not sure, then we should not say it. هذه الحالة أيضا تمتنع من الكلام. In this state, again, we don't say it. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبَهَاتِ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَإِرْضِهِ. Whoever stays from the doubtful, away from doubtful situations, is the first hadith. Then they have guarded their own honor. You put something out there, it's read funny, people looking at us, you know. How we make an excuse for that? You're supposed to make 70 excuses for your brother. What's the excuse for that one? Right? Now there's some cloud. You force the reader or the listener, you force a person into a situation to have to make something up to defend you, to defend your honor. You yourself, we put our own honor in jeopardy, right? We put our own honor in jeopardy. We put our own name on the line. Then you force your brothers and sisters to try to find a way to make an excuse for you for us saying or doing that, right? The second hadith, دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك. Why not say it? It's doubtful. I don't know if it's benefit or not. The Prophet ﷺ said, leave off things that you have doubt in for things that you don't have doubt in. Go with something that's more clear, that you're sure about. All of this comes under guarding the tongue. Guarding the tongue. And this is something that we have to be careful. There are many ahadith. This is just the pillar. This is just the main hadith. There are many ahadith in the books of Adab that discuss guarding the tongue and the punishment for not guarding the tongue. The punishment for not guarding the tongue. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah told us in the Quran, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqu Allaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. O you who believe, fear Allah firstly, and say a statement that is sadida. A statement that is true, upright. Muwafiq lis-sawab, that agrees with the truth. Or if a person is not able, as the tafsir says, a person is not able, they're incapable, they're not capable of arriving at what exactly. Try to be as close to the truth as possible. As Mr. Saajid said, rahimahullah. Try to be as close to the truth as possible. Qawlan sadid, to say something that is a statement that is good. What are beneficial statements? For example, ayat, a hadith. But honestly, we're not sitting around all day quoting ayat and hadith. We're not. Most of us are not walking around busy with ilm all day. Most of us are not busy with knowledge in our free time. When we're free, most people are not busy with learning. Most people are busy with whatever they're busy with, and those people who are busy with that, they're busy with that. So now, outside of Qala Allah, Qala Rasul, outside of what Allah said, what His Messenger said, what's beneficial? How we know if the statement is beneficial? It could bring about some good. Somebody, a family member just died in somebody's family, right? You might not know an ayat or hadith pertaining to it, but you might be able to just extend. Is everything okay? Do you need me? Let me know if you need something. Right? Is there anything I can do? Right? Do they have to be Muslim for that? Huh? They don't have to be Muslim for that. Is there anything I can do? Let me know. The fact that we present ourselves and we're there, it goes a long way with people, especially when people are in a jam. It's a serious situation. So after that, there's a hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, when Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu, he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, will the people be held accountable for what they say with their tongues? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he responded, ثَقُلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ يَا مُعَاذ. Meaning, may your mother lose you, a word that is said when it's a great thing that you just said. This is a serious, you really said that? You serious? Will people be held accountable for what they say on their tongues? That's what Mu'adh asked us, the Prophet said. Will they be held accountable for what they say on their tongues? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَهَلْ يَكُفُّ النَّاسِ فِي النَّارِ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ أَوْ عَلَى مَنَاخِرِهِمْ إِلَّا حَصَائِدُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. He said, will the people be thrown into hellfire on their faces or on their foreheads except by what their tongues produce? Except by what their tongues produce. This is his answer to Mu'adh. And in one of the explanations it says that the statements are the seeds planted. Statements that we say are the seeds that are planted in the dunya. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, the jaza, the reward comes from that seed. The reward will come from that seed. If it was some khair, then the person will receive benefit and reward for it. And if it was some evil, then the person will be punished for it. So this is the first pillar. The first pillar. That a person, a Muslim, guards the tongue. That a Muslim guards the tongue. The second pillar. Al-Burd an al-Fudul. That a person stays away from being, we say, nosy, intruding on people's area, right? Staying away from that. Let's just say being nosy. He says, وَالْإِنسَانَ الْفُضُولِ لَنْ يَكُنْ مُؤَدَّبًا وَلَنْ يَكُنْ خُلُقًا. That a person that's nosy and like that in everybody's business, that they're not considered a person that has good adab. It's not considered a person that has good behavior, good character in everybody's business. طيب. Huh? Fadla.
Are you familiar with the authenticity to the narration of every morning the whole body makes dua against the tongue?
Every morning the whole body makes dua against the tongue.
For fear of fear of the tongue, saying things that can land in the hellfire, put you in the hellfire.
I'm not familiar with it.
Not familiar.
No.
I've been looking for that. I read it, but I'm not familiar. I can't remember.
If it's authentic.
Yeah, no.
Allahu.
No.
Well, yeah. طيب. It says the person that is nosy, intrusive, prying into people's business, that this is not a person of adab. This is not a person that receives the reward in the beginning that the Prophet ﷺ said. That what will enter most people into paradise? Taqwallah wa husnul khuluq, and good adab. This is what's going to enter most people into paradise. And it doesn't mean a person is nosy, it doesn't put him in the category of the other hadith. Who will be closest to the messenger, the most beloved to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who will be closest to him Yawm al-Qiyamah are those who have good adab. The one who's prying into people's information and prying in, invasive like that. This is not from good adab. That's the second pillar, yes, the second pillar. Tayyib, what's the dalil for this one? From the 4 hadith.
Part of being a good Muslim.
Huh?
Letting know things.
Yes, you gotta memorize these. It's only 4 hadith, they all short. I would advise everybody to try to memorize these 4 hadith. They all ought to know before the hadith, and they're short. The dalil to stay out of people's business is the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in husni Islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi. The perfection of one's Islam comes in leaving what doesn't concern you. Now, tarkuhu ma la ya'nihi, what doesn't concern a person, he says bidhabit ash-shar' la bidhabit al-hawa. What doesn't concern us according to the Sharia, according to Islam, what doesn't concern us is what we stay away from. Not things that do concern us according to Sharia. He's going to explain it. طيب. He says, وهذا أمر قد يغفل عنه لأن بعض الناس قد يوظف هذا الحديث في غير بابه. Some people use this hadith mistakenly and they misunderstand the hadith. The hadith of what? Perfect your Islam by staying out of your people's business. طيب. So what do? When a person, he says, أن يؤمر بخير وينهى عن منكر فيقول للآمر الناهي. The person, when somebody commands him with some good, or they forbid him from some evil, right? When you advise your brother, or the sister advises the sister advises the brother, however the case may be, you advise a person, they say what? Mind your business. From perfecting your Islam, akhi, is minding your own business. That's the hadith. The hadith is min husni Islam al-mar'i tarakuhu ma la ya'nihi. A person's perfecting their Islam is staying away from affairs that don't concern you. That's the hadith. So when you go and advise a brother, or you advise a sister, or the sister advises a brother, the wife advises the husband advises, whatever the case may be, they say what? They use this hadith. Akhi, perfect your Islam and stay out of things that don't concern you. Right? Sah? Tayyib. It says, هذا من سوء الفهم للحديث. This is because they misunderstood the hadith. They don't understand the hadith. Why? لأن مما يعني المسلم بضابط الشرع. Islamically, what concerns a Muslim, a Muslim's concern, according to the Sharia, is al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahy al-munkar. Is that we command the good, we forbid the evil. So that is my business. That's my business. That's your business. That's her business. When it comes to commanding the good and forbidding the evil, that is the business of a Muslim to his brother or his sister. You can't use the hadith, perfect your Islam and stay, this don't concern you. No, it concerns me because we're Muslim, right? And at this point, I'm commanding the good and forbidding the evil to the best of my ability. Right? It says, so this is a mistake. This is from the things that Islamically, it is my business. It's your business. It's our business. Commanding the good and forbidding the evil is our business. So when we see one of us falling short, that don't mean we scream on them and disrespect them and try to belittle them and treat them like, how we, treat them like dogs. That doesn't mean that. But it does mean that we do have the right to say something. I have the right to say something to my brother. He falls short. If I fall short, my brother or sister had a right to pull me to the side and say, Akhi, at this point, you're out of pocket with that. It's out of pocket. We're Muslim. You don't say, you gotta mind your business out. Right? He says this, he says this is from the affair of the Muslim. Al-amr bidhalika fi kitabillah wa sunnati nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because we've been commanded in the Quran and the Sunnah to command the good, forbid the evil. So if I make a mistake, if I do something wrong, and somebody comes to correct me or advise me, I can't say, perfecting your religion is staying out of stuff that don't concern you. This doesn't concern you. Like, it does concern me because I'm commanding the good and forbidding the evil like Allah told me in the Quran. How the Prophet ﷺ told me. Now, if my level of commanding the good and forbidding the evil is not that high, then we follow the other hadith. If you see an evil, then do what? Change it with your hand if you have the ability. If I don't have the ability to change it with my hand, then we speak out against it. If I can't do that, at the least, I hate it in my heart. That is our business between one another. We got to get back to advising each other and stop being so sensitive. We sensitive. We say something, oh, you're coming at me. No, we human. What the shirt say? Beni Adam. That shirt going around, Beni Adam. We human, we make mistakes, we fall short. The Deen al-Nasiha, the Prophet said, the Deen al-Nasiha. The religion is advice to who? From the people, the general Muslims. We're supposed to advise one another. That's what we're supposed to do. Islamically, that's our business. We can't use this hadith to shove people off when we make a mistake, or when we're wrong, or we're out of pocket. Tayyib. He says, this includes al-bu'd عن فضول والبعد عن ما لا يعني. And this, he says, this includes fudul al-kalam, when it comes to speech. Involving ourselves in conversations that we have no business. And it's not falling under the dhabit al-shar, what the Islamic legislation has allowed us to involve ourselves with. Islamically, we're allowed to command the good and forbid the evil according to our level. He says, well, fudul another, looking, when it comes to the eyes, looking at things that we have no business looking at, let alone if it's haram. Even if it's not haram, that is not something that we're supposed to be involved in. طيب. وفضول السماع, listening. And there's a hadith about eavesdropping. There's a hadith about that. Eavesdropping and listening on conversations. You standing behind a wall. You know they know you're not. You know that the people know you're not there, but you're trying to, whatever you're trying to do. Standing behind hijab, whatever the case may be. Or even realer one, you on the phone with somebody, they forget to hang the phone up. So you let the phone ride for 2.5 minutes. For what? What's the benefit? If he does say something, then you wasn't supposed to hear it anyway. Right? To let the phone ride for 2.5 minutes and somebody thought they hung the phone up. Now what if they say something about you? طيب. Allahumma musta'an. طيب. He says, so to use the hadith in that case, he said this is using it fi ghayri babihi. It's not used in that way. It's not to be used in that way. And anything that will remove a person from hayyiz al-akhlaq wal-adab, involving yourself in anything that will remove you from that level of adab, having the adab. طيب, the third pillar من أركان الآداب والأخلاق عدم الانسياق مع الانفعالات النفس وبخاصة الغضب. Not reacting emotionally, especially when we're angry. Not reacting emotionally, especially when we're angry. Sisters and brothers. Brothers these days are sensitive. Sensitive brothers out here. Seriously, brothers are sensitive. It's not a knock. I'm not saying brothers are sensitive like you can't be sensitive, but we have to understand who we talking to. If you know a brother's sensitive, right, then you have to word it another way. If we really want good for each other. If you don't care if he's sensitive, I don't care if he's sensitive, then you get the results you get, right? But if we know that a person's sensitive and we're trying to help, that means we think about what we're going to say. Again, there's a benefit. Should I say it like that? That takes effort, right? That takes thinking. You gotta really want good for your brother. If not, you say what you want to say. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. And then when you get the results you get, you're going to turn around and say, man, he didn't want the hawk. I told him twice. Man, Allahumma musta'an. Islam is not a game. We've been taught. Islam is not a game. We've been taught Quran and Sunnah. We're going to turn around after you spoke to somebody like a dog, like they're your child. Grown man, grown woman, you talking to her like she's your child. And we don't want to hear nothing you guys say. You're going to tell them they don't want the haqq, they don't want the truth. It ain't had nothing to do with the way you said it to them. You couldn't have said it no better. It was impossible for you to change that and say it any better than that. That's the best you could do. To talk to somebody like that, who might have been Muslim, gave you shahada, taught you how to pray, taught you how to make wudu. You turn around and talk to them like they kids, and then come back and say, they don't want the hawk up there. They don't want the hawk. I told him. Firm, I told him. We speak all the time. I told him. Right? Not to be emotional. It says, especially when a person is mad. وَيَغْضَبْ عَلَيْهِ. It says, if a person is angry, لَا يُبَاشِرْ وَقْتَ الْغَضَبِهِ أَيِّ قَوْلٍ أَوْ أَيِّ فِعْلٍ. If a person is angry, at that time they shouldn't say anything. Don't even respond. He said, don't do anything. Don't say anything and don't do anything. At that time when a person is angry. طيب. He says, لأن أي قول يباشر وقت الغضب أو أي فعل يباشر وقت الغضب سيخرج به في الغالب عن نطاق الخلق والآداب. Because generally, usually when a person responds while they're angry, they do what? They're out of pocket. Right? They say something that they come back and say, I shouldn't have said that. When they're angry. Then they calm down and say, what's up? But once you say certain things, ain't no taking it back. We all know that. You meant that. You was mad, but you really meant that. You look like you had that just waiting. Like you was waiting for me to do something to say that. Right? And people never let it go. But then we calm down and we say, no, I ain't really mean like that. I was really trying to say. And what they say, no, you meant it. Right? And they never let it go. They said, well, at that time that a person shouldn't say anything or do anything. It says, and for this reason, it said, it said about anger and the dispraise of anger. Dispraise of anger. That's not something that, brothers, being a hothead is not thorough Islamic. Just say it like that. The fact that you're a hothead and you got a short temper, Islamically, Islam doesn't respect that. Islam doesn't respect that. The street might respect that. But any Muslim who's trying to practice Islam, they don't respect that. Muslims don't respect that. Anybody with some type of Islamic knowledge trying to be a Muslim, they don't respect hotheads because you're a hothead, because you're short-tempered. That's between you and your Lord. We live by the guidance, the revelation. This is what we're bound by, the guidance, revelation. Them people out there in the corner, you got to deal with them with that. We don't respect that. We respect the guidelines laid by the Quran, laid down in the Quran and the Sunnah. This is what's respected. And we shouldn't be, brothers and sisters, we shouldn't be head over heels about these type people. He's a gun. And what is Islam like? He's a gun for what? For who? For the deen? Or he's a gun for the corner? If he's a gun for that, then that's between him and Allah. If he want to be a gun for, then that's between him and Allah. But the respect, we have to respect Islam, our boundaries. We can't practice Islam correctly until we go against what we come up on. Until we can leave that out there and break that and practice this, it's always going to be some problems. We always going to find ourselves in a jam. I can't really do it. We got to leave that. We have to not respect that over this.
And I think that said that that person is a weak person in Islam.
The one who can't hold their, yes. There's a lot of hadith in Bulugh al-Maram. Bulugh al-Maram, Kitab al-Jami. In the book Kitab al-Jami, Bulugh al-Maram, by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. It's translated. It's a book of hadith, and at the end, it's a chapter on Adab. We went through some of it at Masjid Salam and Wasatiyah. Not the whole thing though, but it's a lot of hadith in there, and that hadith is in there. The strong one is the one who can restrain himself when he's angry, not the one who can throw people around. The one who can contain himself when they're angry. So he says, a person shouldn't say anything when they are angry, because we all know when you get angry, you say stuff and you do stuff that you look back and you say, I shouldn't have did, I was tripping. But at that point, there's no taking it back a lot of times. Based on the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, إِذَا غَضِبَ أَحَدُكُمْ وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ فَلْيَجْلِسْ فَإِنْ ذَهَبَ عَنْهُ الْغَضَبُ وَإِلَّا فَلْيَضْطَجِعْ. If a person is angry, if a person is angry and he's standing up, then he should sit down. Tayyib. This is the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As-Sadiq al-Masduq. The trustworthy, the one who speaks the truth. If he said it works, it works. If it don't work for us, that's us. If a person is if they're angry and they're standing up, then sit down. If that don't work sitting down, then lay down. That's the hadith. That's the guidance of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. طيب. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا غضب أحدكم فليسكت. If one of you is angry, then be quiet. That's the guidance. Be quiet. He says, فليسكت امتناع عن كلام وقت الغضب. Quiet is the prohibition. The Prophet is teaching us, فليسكت. Be quiet when you're angry, so that you don't overstep the bound. You don't go too far, right? And then the other hadith, فليجلس امتناع عن الفعل وقت الغضب. When he says sit down, it's to refrain a person from doing something when they're angry. Right? Both are hadith point to refraining from speaking and doing actions when we're angry and upset. And we all know anger. We know people, they in jail, might not ever come home. Never coming home. Right? Because waqt al-ghadab, in that instance right there, they make a move, they do something, and that's it. Sometimes it's a costly price. God save us and protect us. Right.
About to mention a line of poetry or something, you had made some couple points back that you ain't know. You said it said this phrase of anger.
Oh yeah, al-ghadab, sahih, jazakallah khair. That statement, that this praise of anger, is said al-ghadab awwaluhu junun wa akhiruhu nadam. Anger, the beginning, at that time, it's junun, the person's angry. Not that they're crazy, but they're not thinking. And at the end of it, it's regret. Awwaluhu junun wa akhiruhu nadam. When it's all said and done, it all fizzles out, a person regrets what they said or regrets what they did. But at that point, it's too late. Sometimes people wake up in a cell. They wake up in a cell. You say, I said what? I did what? Don't even remember what they said and did. In a cell. Somebody's dead, somebody's in the jail, somebody's locked up. Right? أَوَّلُهُ جُنُونَ وَآخِرُهُ نَدَمٌ. The beginning of it is craze and rage. Rage. And the end of it is regret. And this is not a call, because the Messenger ﷺ, by no means was the Messenger ﷺ weak or a coward ﷺ. Evident. This is not a call to be soft. This is a call to restrict ourselves to what we find in the Revelation, the Quran and the Sunnah. There's a time for everything. The Messenger ﷺ, he fought in battles. Battling for what? Islam, because they were, why? Kalimat al-Tawheed, for real, for real. No money involved in it. No corners and all that. There's no monetary that. Because they were being tortured and people, what? Dying. For saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Lost teeth. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Tayyib. He says, so those two ahadith prove that the person shouldn't respond with a word or with an action. And that's why he said to the man who came and he asked him, he said, Usini, qala la taghlab, qarraraha alayhi salatu wasalam. The man said, advise me, and he said, don't become angry. Don't become angry. And he kept repeating it to the man. He said it like 3 times. He said, وقد جاء في بعض الروايات أن الصحابي قال فتأملت ذلك فوجدت أن الغضب جماع الشر. One of the Sahaba said, I thought about that hadith, لا تغضب, don't become angry. He said, and I found that anger contains all evil. All evil is contained in that anger. A person goes into a rage and ends up hitting his wife. Ends up smacking a woman who believes in Allah on the last day. Beating her possibly, or whatever to the case. Anger. A woman in her rage ends up seeking a khula or a divorce. She wants out of marriage right now. He's angry, he responds. 2 weeks, a nadam, regret. Do I have to give her another dowry? I said I wasn't really, did it count? This? Regret. But in that time, that was it. There was no talking. There was nothing to talk about. It wasn't, let me sit down. The Prophet said, when you're angry, sit down. Let me lie down. Let me do this. Let me do this. She's angry. She wants this now. Just give it to me. Just give it to me now. Why you? He's angry now. I'm tired of you asking. Hey, if you got it. You ain't gonna do me like that. I don't know what you think this is, right? They said I ain't him. This ain't that, right? 2 weeks go by, and then when I said it, I said this, but I said it like this. My intentions was, when I said it, was this. And that rage is the beginning, but at the end, when it all settles down, it's regret. That's why the Prophet said.
Some of them even say, I was angry.
I was angry. They say, I ain't really mean it, I was angry. And just as a side point, because you're angry, brother, doesn't mean it doesn't count. That's not an issue. I was angry, so we still married. Not all the time. Not all the time. Ulama discuss the level of anger. The level of anger. It has to be a serious level of anger for you for it not to count. It's not just mine. We was arguing, I was upset. And sometimes the third, you did that 3 times already. So now you divorced her 3 times, and you're going to say, I was angry all 3 times, so they don't know. No. It's dangerous. Now it's a whole nother issue. Sheikh had a question.
Yes. Since we know that anger is a natural thing that humans go through, is there any praiseworthy anger?
The anger that is praiseworthy?
Yeah, or anger that's allowed, I should say. Because we know about the hadith of the Messenger of Allah when it says he got angry. His face became red.
Got angry for what? Number one.
I just was talking to a brother. He was saying, Umar bin al-Khattab, who was reading the Torah. He was reciting the Torah in front of him. And he said he looked at his face and he said he could see the anger on his face. He became red. And like that.
In general, when the limits, because we get angry for a lot of stuff. But sometimes we don't get angry for the right things, right? We'll get angry for something that's outside, that ain't really, but when the limits of Allah and His Messenger are transgressed, we're not angry about that. We're not angry when people go against the Sunnah. We're not angry when people play with the deen. They're not angry when those type of things. Anger because what? You disrespected me. And nobody disrespects me. Everybody know that. Right? They don't fly. Nobody does that. Not to me. Maybe to him, her, but not to me. So we angry about that. Generally, anger is an emotion that Allah gave us, but it's not about not being angry, controlling the anger. How to control it, how to deal with it when we get angry. And that's why He told us, if you stand, then sit down. If you're sitting down, then lie down. Don't just jump out there. If you're angry, be quiet. And He told us in another hadith, the strong one is not the one who can throw people around, the one who can control himself when they're angry. So we got to be able to control ourselves according to what we've been taught. Tayyib. The last pillar, and we'll start with this, salamatu sadr. that a person's heart is clear and of any grudge, spite, rancor, hatred, right? For the believers. بأن لا يكون في صدر الإنسان غل أو حقد. That a person doesn't have in their heart any hatred for their brothers and sisters. As Allah told us in the Quran, وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا in Surah Al-Hashr, ayah number 10. And do not put in our hearts any hatred for the believers. For those who believe. غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So how is it that the asl, the origin has become, right? That we hate everybody except for the people that we know. And even if we don't say we hate them, we behave like we hate them. How is it that the origin now is that we hate everybody? Everybody is a problem, right? Except for the people that we know say what we say. So if I don't know you say what I say, I got a problem with you from the door until it's confirmed that you're saying what I'm saying. That's not according to the revelation. That's not according to the revelation. Allah says, Surah Al-Hashr, وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. For those who believe, the believers in general. طيب, he says, لا يمكن أن يكون من أهل الأخلاق لأن فساد الباطن وانحرافه ينعكس على ظاهره. A person can't be a person of adab and akhlaq, good adab and manners, if they have hatred in their heart for the believers. Why? Because it comes out and is made apparent. What's in the heart is made apparent on the limbs, as the Messenger ﷺ said. Anybody know the hadith? What's in the heart? Huh? Yeah, what's the hadith?
The hearts are the pot and the tongue is the ladle.
Again?
The heart is like a cooking pot, and what's in it, the tongue is like a ladle will come out on the tongue.
I don't know that hadith. I'm not saying that's not the one.
What's in the heart is more worse than what's comes down on the tongue.
That's a hadith. A hadith, so that we know that what's in the heart becomes apparent on the tongue. I mean, you already know it. I'm just trying to get the brain working.
Piece of motion.
There you go. It's that piece of flesh in the body, right? Either salahat, if it's upright, then the rest of the body is upright. And if it's evil, then the rest of the body is evil. إذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. If it's evil, the rest of the body is evil, and this points to the مكانة. يدل لمكانة هذا في باب الأخلاق. قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That none of you truly believes until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. And he says, فهذا الحديث عمدة في باب الأخلاق. He said this hadith is a pillar when it comes to adab and dealing with one another. That if we really, really love one, it's a way that we talk to each other. It's a way that you correct somebody if you really want khair for them. They did wrong. They don't have any wedge. There's no way they can be right in this, right? They did wrong, but how do you correct them? Because they're dead wrong and they don't have any win in this situation, does that mean we have the green light to disrespect them? And we all know disrespect is not always words. Sometimes it's what? Sometimes it's tone. Your tone. People get funny when you send them capital letters in a text message now. They do. People, why you type it all big like that? I thought you was, I mean, it's just reality. Typing that all big. I thought you was trying. Let alone you come to a brother or a sister and they're wrong. And you say to them, and you sarcastic. Man, you don't know that? Thought you would have knew that by now. All class you sitting there? No benefit. What's the benefit of saying all that? Sometimes it's just the tone, the level that you say it at. Where you could have changed the level and the brother heart would have just, he did whatever you told him to do. But the fact that we still scared, we scared, I believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe we're scared to go against what we've been taught in the street. I believe we're scared to let down the guard and do this all the way. We're scared that people are going to say he's soft. I personally, I believe that. We got a problem with that. I believe we're scared to let our guards down because we think that the woman is going to have an up on us. I ain't letting her get me like that. Right? We still living by that. And as long as we living by that, it's always going to be a problem. We always going to have problems. As long as we can't put the deen before the street or before whatever it was that we came up and it goes against the revelation, it goes against the legislation, as long as we can't, it's going to constantly be these little problems seeping around that just grow into big snowballs. Because we're scared to do what? Put Allah's messenger first. I can't do that, Akhi. No, that's not Islamic. Oh, you want to deen. You really deen. You deen and deen. What else is it? You deen and deening. Right? Man, we going to put it on the table. We got to. Prophet ﷺ said the Quran hujjatan lak wa alayk. The Quran is going to be a proof for you or against you. We don't have time to play. What is deen and deening? I mean, either you practicing Islam to the best of your ability, not when it's convenient. We're going to be held accountable for that. It's a punishment. We're going to be held accountable. He said this is a pillar in the chapter of Adab. It's a pillar. And for the person who does this, then they've implemented the person who implements these 4 hadith, they've implemented the 4 pillars of Adab. The 4 pillars of Adab. Again, I would advise everybody try to memorize those hadith. They're short, they're not very long. Teach them to your kids, to your wives, so that, as the ulama say, when the more you do something, the more it's on your mind, the more likely you are to implement it. That's why they say those ayat, that a person may have a problem and he may seek to be cured from his sickness from the Quran. The Quran is a shifa. The Quran itself is a cure for sicknesses. But you got to know which ayat to use for your sickness. How does he do that? A person got a problem with stealing. So what does he do? Does he read the ayat about Allah being the most merciful and the more forgiving? No, he should read the ayat over and over, the penalty for the one who steals. The penalty, he should read that over and over, 100 times, so that he understands the penalty for the one who steals. That we have to leave whatever goes against Islam, the Sharia, we have to leave it. We shouldn't even be impressed by it. If it still impresses us that people disobey Allah and that people still live by the street, if we still impressed by that, then we gotta look at our own iman. We gotta look at our own hearts. We shouldn't be impressed by people disobeying Allah. They get no points. There's no points, no stripes for that in Islam. That's disobedience. There's no way we should be satisfied and happy to see people disobey Allah. Even if we grew up together, those people, we should even want good more. We got history, right? We go back. We should want good for each other like we want good for ourselves. We stop there, inshallah ta'ala. Allah forgive me for anything I said that was incorrect. Any questions? Focus.
You mentioned about the 3 things from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You say when you see something, it's not going to change with your hand, or you if you can speak against it, or hate it in your heart. Change with your hand. What you mean by change with your hand?
If you got the ability to, mathalan, if it's a brother out on the corner smoking a cigarette, does anybody in here walk up to him and snatch a cigarette out of his hand? No. Because you know you don't have the authority to do that. It's going to be a problem. Right? But where do most people have the authority? In your home. In your household. It starts there, number one. It starts in the house. To change things in the house with your hand. We ain't getting into that. We're not gonna get into that as long as we pay the bill. It don't necessitate that, sisters. It don't necessitate that the brother pay all the bills for him to command the good and forbid the evil in the house. It doesn't necessitate that because it's your name on the lease. Or whatever your name is on, it doesn't mean he can't command the good and forbid the evil. Where'd that come from? That's not from the revelation. We've not been restricted to, if you financially are not above me, then I don't have to listen to you. Where'd that come from? That's not from the teachings of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Command the good, forbid the evil is for everybody, according to your level. He's the imam, he's the man of the house. You married him. You allowed him to do what he's doing. Now when he try to advise you with khair, don't be mad and throw it back in his face. He only do what you allow him to do. So it began, that's according to a person's level. Would you have authority to change with your hand without it being a consequence that's going to cause more harm on you? Without it being a consequence that's going to cause more harm to you. You go outside breaking people's, whatever they're doing, they're not supposed to be doing, it's going to be a problem. So many supplications, so make a person experience for the life and gave them persons alive and well and children. And another type of message, why did they supplicate the person that she replied? My question is this even possible, acceptable? A person made dua for a person to make someone's grave spacious and full of light and give them Jannat al-Firdaus. The sister said she didn't understand. Why would you make that dua and the person's still alive? They're alive, so why would you make dua that Allah make their grave spacious and full of light and give them Jannat al-Firdaus? She says, I didn't understand. Why would you make this dua? She said, the person said, I'll make this dua for everybody. Is this permissible? I mean, everybody's gonna die. When you die, ask Allah to make your grave spacious. If that's what she meant, and full of light. When you die, she's gonna die, we're all gonna die. If that's what the person meant, and that's how they carry it, then I don't see, inshallah, no harm in making this a general dua. May Allah make your grave spacious. We're gonna die. Generally, that dua is usually used when people are dead. I understand it might be, she said it's a little weird. I don't know how the sister who said it is carrying it. She might be carrying it on, people are gonna die, and I'm just making dua. Maybe I wanna let people know that I'm making dua for them, even when they die. I don't know. That will lead a little more question. But in general, a general dua like that, I'm not gonna say it's haram. It says possible or acceptable, and I'm not gonna say it's not accepted. Is it the best dua to make? Allah A'lam. Haram, I can't say it's haram. Everybody's gonna die, and we ask Allah to make our graves, it's like if I say right now, I ask Allah to make our graves spacious. And make our graves full of light. And give us all Jannat al-Firdaus. And we're all living. Right? But it's the same dua. Allah knows best.
So we're pertaining to, he said, don't get angry. So he said, sit down. After you sit down, you lay down. Ain't it the level that you perform the wudu?
Perform wudu. That's why everybody should get Bulugh al-Maram. It's a whole chapter. These are just not sporadic, but the main ones for that chapter. But it's tons of hadith on adab and what to do, what not to do. Our problem is we got to know them so we know when to use them. We got to know them so that we know when to use them. But it's a lot of hadith giving instruction of what should we do when we get angry and what we shouldn't do. These are just a few. The other one about making wudu. Anything else?
Like the brother was asking about permitted anger. Like, is there ever a time where anger is permitted? Like, for instance, if a person is speaking ill against the deen, or your wife is doing something disobedience, like
right. We should be angry. We should be angry when disobedience in general, especially if it's people we love. It should anger us. We should be angry, upset about that. It's an emotion. It's not like we don't get angry. Hadith doesn't mean you don't get mad at anything. Control your anger. If something happens that's going to take you to the next level, then we have to control ourselves. Of course, if a sister takes off her hijab, what do we say? MashaAllah? No, mashallah. Astaghfirullah. Allah yahdih. Make dua for it. Somebody need to call her, try to get with her, see what's going on. Not mashallah. What's mashallah about a person being disobedient? Brother, he don't pray no more. Like, what's, oh man, qadar Allah. What is, we should be upset at the limits that Allah set for and that the Prophet set for are being broken. Yahamakallah. When those limits are broken, we should be upset. Not upset that we go and disrespect people. Not upset that we gotta take revenge. Upset, and then we control our anger according to Quran and Sunnah. Not that we can't be mad, especially if it's somebody in our household, wives and husbands. We should definitely be upset. Kids disobeying Allah, we should be upset. But that don't mean you go get a broomstick. And
Can we use a narration where the Prophet said that it might be praiseworthy, where he says that I guarantee you a house and in the middle of Jannah for the one who leaves off arguing, even what he says.
Even when he's correct.
Even
All of those. We might maybe possibly start a class on Adab on a Wednesday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's class won't be on Adab, but possibly on Adab, because a lot of our problems between each other have to do with Adab. A lot of times we're not arguing about, with each other about Aqidah. I'm not saying that we don't argue. A lot of arguments are not about Aqidah between brothers and sisters. It's because we were somewhere, I was coming in the masjid, and when I went to get my shoes, he did such and such, or I heard, it's stuff that can be fixed. It's other stuff that mu'amalat, or the man called mu'amalat, dealings with each other. The way we deal with each other is what brings a lot of our arguments. In the house, between spouses, husband and wife, same thing. It's the way we deal with each other, the way we talk to each other. Yeah, I'm mad, because you keep doing that, over and over. I'm upset, I'm irritated. But because I'm irritated, sis, don't mean you could just say what you want to say to the imam of the house. That's the imam of the house. How the kids gonna look at him now, you talking to him like he a kid? Whether they're your kids or they're his kids. If he's the imam, how you just talk to the imam of the household like he's one of the children? With no type of respect, because you're agitated. Then we wonder why he responds, or the man does the same thing. That's the mother of the house. Prophet ﷺ said, when he was asked who is the most deserving of my good companionship, he said, your mother. He said, then who? Your mother. Then who? Your mother. Then who? Your father. Your mother 3 times. You talking to her like she a dog. In front of the kids. Now when she responded, she mad, you got a problem because she responded and she mad. Like how we talk to people crazy and then we're upset when they respond. The brother comes and say, yo, she out of pocket, her mouth's just crazy. I said, well, damn, well, how that happen? And she said, well, that's because I said that. I only said that because he said this. Why would you say something like that to her? I was mad. We can't. One thing's for sure, brothers, I'm gonna stop here because the food is ready. One thing's for sure is we could sit here in front of each other, put on what they used to, I ain't gonna use that term, and put on the front and all that. But one thing we can't do is fool Allah Jalla wa'ala. As-Samir, Al-Basir, the all-hearing, the all-knowing. We can't fool Allah. You can come in front and talk to people and explain your story. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, one person explaining the story might be more eloquent and they can articulate better than the other person telling their side. And you might get over on them. But the Prophet ﷺ said, if you do get over on them, when you're reporting your story, you've taken a piece of the hellfire. Qit'am min an-nar. Because you know you're more eloquent than the next person and you're getting over on them. He can't express himself like that, or she can't express herself like that, so you get over on him, explain your side, make the other one look crazy. The Prophet ﷺ said that the person who does that, they've taken a qit'ah min an-nar. They're taking off a piece of the hellfire by doing that. Allah knows, and the person, as the Prophet ﷺ said, ahkam ala-zahir, are only a person listening only goes on what's apparent, what's presented. You sound like your story sounds believable. That's crazy. Why would you do that? He's explaining or she's explaining, they can't really get it out, so they sound like they're wrong. And the person agrees with the side, they might be dead wrong. But Allah knows. The creation, we have limits. All of us have limits. But Allah knows, Al-Alim. And we got to be conscious of that. We'll stop there because they sent up more than one note. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.